My mom's a prostitute. That's her means to a job. So mom got sloppy one night with this date. My mom and aunt had robbed this guy, a Hispanic man. I'm laying in bed. I hear footsteps coming down the hallway. The Spanish guy comes and asks, "Where's your mama?" He says, "She stole my money." And then he wrapped the bandana around my neck, strangling me. I'm 9 years old. And then he finally lets me go. And then he stabs me in the neck with a screwdriver.
You can transcend your environment.
Right.
You can overcome your circumstances. You are living proof of this.
I went to school, got my bachelor's, my master's in 03 and 05, started in the oil business. So my first job, I started as a field engineer in 2007. And within a 5-year period, I took that $13 an hour to over $1 million a year.
Wow.
And not only was the best, I became the best engineer in the world.
You end up turning that $13 an hour job into becoming a multimillionaire. And by the way, a really sought after speaker, author, and a movie coming out about his life.
For a guy like me, my core belief was believing in myself.
Why would you? There was no evidence you should. I mean, your mom didn't want you. Your dad didn't want you. Your grandma's pretty much didn't want you, right? How do you do that?
Success is measured in time. I never had a victim mentality. I was like, this is what happened to me. Let's keep on moving. I just wanted the opportunity to get in the game of life. I never ever want to be the man of the year. I just want to be a good man. When I tell people I'm the best in the world, I'm not trying to be the best. I'm trying to be the only. The reason the world stopped when Kobe Bryant died, not because he was the best, it's because he was the only. It's a different to the standard.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. So a while back, maybe about a year ago, I heard a story from my friend John Gordon about a man's life. And I made a mental note at that time. I said, that story is going to be told on my show and millions of people are going to hear it because millions of people need to hear this story. And it's going to grip you. It's going to bring you in right away in the beginning of this interview. And I don't think you're ever going to forget it. And I think the lessons you're going to learn from this man about that story are going to change your life. And so I actually asked him to come in person today because I wanted to feel the story man to man, heart to heart, face to face. And so my guest today was stabbed in the neck when he was 9 years old. He was locked up in jail when he was 18, actually in jail, as I understand, at the same time as his mother. I'm going to let you tell the story, but my guest today is the very jacked up with a schmedium shirt on. Just kidding. XL shirt on. Tiki Davis, welcome to the show.
Man, I'm glad to be here. Thank you, Ed.
Yeah, it's so good to have you. All right, let's go all the way back. You're here because of a story, well, multiple stories in your life, but take us back to your upbringing, because I think a lot of people, why do I want you on? A lot of people are going through something right now in their life, right, or a hardship or a trauma that they think is pretty significant, right, and they don't know the path out. You do, because you've made the path out, and yours is dramatic.
Right.
So should we start at 9? Is that about the right place to start?
Yeah, we can start it now. Let's start a little bit before that.
Okay.
Let's set it up the stage and see why I got stabbed in the neck.
Okay.
So 12 years old, this young girl was having sex. Her father found out she was having sex. So he said, if you're going to have sex, you might as well get paid for it. So her father turned her into a prostitute. As she got older, she was 16, 17, working at a hospital in Amarillo, Texas. And she was having sex. Her main customer was the head physician at the hospital. Then she was also having unprotected sex with her pimp named Ramsey. This young girl gets pregnant. She's hoping the baby's her pimp's because she's in love with this guy. He's a tall black guy with an afro. But she has the baby. The physician delivers the baby. The baby comes out half black, half white. So now the request my mom has with this physician, tie my tubes. I don't want to have any more kids.
So this lady that you're describing is your mom, and you are that half black, half white baby?
No,
okay,
that's my brother.
Okay. All right. But it is your mom.
It is my mom.
Okay.
So, but she doesn't want to have any more kids. So the guy ties her tubes, fires her from the hospital, hope to never see her again.
Okay.
So she goes straight back to work as a prostitute. Wow. The guy that's my father, he's in jail, in prison, serving 7 years. So when my dad gets out of prison, he finds out that his girlfriend that he has had a baby, and not only had a baby, it's a white baby.
Oh my gosh.
Now he's jealous. And he's begging her to have a kid for him. And she says, Frank, I can't have any more kids. My tubes are tied. And so he begs her to untie her tubes.
Whoa.
And she said, I don't want any kids. But she does it anyway, has a baby. 2 months after I'm delivered, she calls my dad and says, come get your son. I didn't want no more kids. You did.
Oh my gosh. See, I didn't know this part of the story. Oh
Right.
my gosh.
So my dad,
Wow.
25 years old, he comes to Andrew, Texas, picks me up, takes me to his mother because he doesn't know how to raise a kid. And my grandmother, Hattie Ward, takes me in, open arms, not because she loved me so much. She had a debt to pay to her own son because she gave him away at birth.
What did you talk about generational trauma in a family.
Yes.
Okay, just piece it together. Brother's born, half black, half white.
Right.
Mom's a prostitute.
Right.
It turns out it's not the pimp, it's the doctor.
Yes.
Then dad, who's in prison, gets out of prison.
Yes.
Says, I want a kid. She unties her tubes, doesn't want to.
Uh-huh.
You're born.
Right.
She gives you away within 2 months. I'm not laughing. I'm just blown away.
Yeah.
2 months. And then your dad can't raise a kid, so you go to your grandmother. Your grandmother only does this because she gave your dad away.
Right. Yeah, true story. I can't make this up.
Wow.
So now I live with my grandmother from 2 months old to 3 years old.
Okay.
And guess who comes looking for me at 3 years old?
Mom or dad?
Mom.
Mom. Okay.
So she comes to look for me because back in the early 80s, when you went to the welfare office, you got to have proof of your kids. So mama needed proof of her 2 kids to get this check. And my brother was given to her mother. So she ain't raised any of her kids. They've been 2 different places. So now it gets tricky. So she comes to Artesia, New Mexico, where I was living with my grandmother, to pick me up. She's one of her dates. She had married this guy named Murphy Young, pulls up in this yellow Lincoln, cloth seats in the back, right? Mm. And she sits me, and I knew she was my mom. For some reason, I knew that was my mom. Even though I never met her, but I was like, that's my mama. But check this out, it gets weirder. Okay. She gets me, sits me in the back seat, and she looks over there and says, there's your brother. Oh my God. First time I seen a white person.
Oh my God. So your brother visually looks more white than black.
Yes.
Which makes sense that you're not the mixed baby because you don't.
No, right.
Hello, Mylett. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
And so that's how I met my brother.
Wow.
And then we go to Odessa, Texas, and that's when my life starts spiraling out of control because now I'm living with mama. And
was
now,
grandma, just curious, those years when you were the grandma, was she a loving grandmother? Did you
Oh, she was a great, man.
Okay.
Patty, that's why I love breakfast. You know, that's my favorite meal of the day is breakfast because she used to make me oatmeal, cream of wheat, biscuits, eggs, and that good old grandma smell. And, you know, and I loved her till she passed away about 10 years ago at 84.
Wow. You're a grown man, but you almost have anyone ever tell you this before? You're a strong man. He's gigantic, you guys, but you almost have the spirit and the face of a little boy still. You ever heard that before?
I get that. I had to put these braces back on my teeth. One of my teeth was getting crooked. Yeah. So I had them when I was 34. I'm 46 now. Yeah,
you look so young. I wonder if there's you didn't have a childhood, so God's going to make you look like a young person for the rest of your life. That's one of the blessings of this horror story so far. Okay, so now you are with your brother and your mom.
Right.
And we're not even to the 9-year-old incident yet.
No. So we're growing up in the projects, and now once mom gets the benefits, she sends us back with grandma.
Wow.
And so now me and my brother always grew up thinking that my grandma loved him more and mom loved me more. Why? Because we were kids. We didn't understand really what was going on. So my brother had lived with my grandma his whole life. So she had the means to take care of him. Mm-hmm. But when I came on, I was extra. I was another mouth to feed. So me and my brother would overhear conversations, my grandmother and my mom arguing about money. And my grandma would say to my mom, hey, I got enough for Kevin. I don't have enough for Tiki. And so my mom would always come and bring money for me and not my brother, or bring clothes for me and not my brother because he was already taken care of.
Oh gosh, it's horrible.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So me and my brother was thinking, hey, my mom loves me. And my brother was thinking, mom don't love him because I'm white or something.
Wow. And by the way, I'm just piecing something together. So you were living with this brother, not knowing he was your brother until she tells you in the back of the car. Is that right?
No, I wasn't living with my brother because we were at 2 different homes. I was in New Mexico with my dad's mom. He was living in Odessa with my mom's mom.
There's a different grandmother.
Yeah, different grandmother.
Oh my gosh.
So when I meet my first white person, is my brother in the back seat.
Oh my gosh.
And that's the first time we met. He's 5, I'm 3.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So, one of the crazier stories. And by the way, when I introduced you, I knew about 60% of this story, and it was already one of the best stories I'd ever heard in my life. When I say best, it's best because of who's sitting in front of me now.
Right.
I certainly would never want someone to go through that, but
Right.
you're proof that you can transcend your environment. You can overcome your circumstances. You are living proof of this. And we're going to talk about some of those keys and strategies. By the way, everybody, you should know this. Tiki is an inspirational, motivational speaker as well.
Right.
These stories on stage even come to a life in a different way than what we're doing right now. So I want to make sure that at the end, when I send you to find him, that you guys know that he does this as well. Because it's going to be a movie. We're already talking about that. But I get the movie on my show first, which is really cool. So, okay, probably let's get to what happens at 9, because that's the beginning of the story. I knew. I didn't even know any of this.
Okay. And so my mom's a prostitute. That's her means, to a job. And other than being a prostitute, the only job I knew my mom had, she'd ring the bell for the Salvation Army out in front of Walmart, Home Goods, things like that. So mom got sloppy one night with this date. And we only have one key to the house, so I went home that night. It was dark. My mom and aunt had robbed this guy, a Hispanic man. So I'm laying in bed, getting ready for bed. I hear footsteps coming down the hallway. I'm not afraid. But it's this Spanish guy comes and asks, "Where's your mama?" And I'm looking like, I don't know where she is. She's in the flats. And the flats was where all the black people hung out. And then before I know it, he says, "She stole my money." And I'm thinking, okay. And then he wrapped the bandana around my neck. Oh my God. Strangling me, left to right. I'm this little
You're a little boy.
Yeah, I'm 9 years old. He's strangling me. And then he finally lets me go. And then he stabs me in the neck with a screwdriver. Then he puts a pillow over my face, Ed, start beating me. And the only reason I was able to survive is because I decided to fight for my life. But the only reason I did is because my mom used to give me a whooping and I would run from her. So that's the only way I was able to escape this guy. So I slide down the wall, roll up under the bed. So he's moving the bed left to right, flipping it over, but I'm stuck up under the bed because my mom would give me whoopings and that's where I would go. So nobody could get me from up under that bed. And so I'm fighting for my life. I'm bleeding. I don't even know my life's in danger, really. I just know this man's attacking me.
Gosh.
And only thing that I remember, because everybody say, "Tiki, do you remember what the guy looked like?" Yeah, I do. I remember the bottom of his blue jeans and his snakeskin boots.
Because you're looking at it from under the bed.
Under the bed. And then finally the guy panics and run away, think I'm gonna die or whatever. And when I hear the back door slams, I decide to get up. I roll from up under the bed. And my mom used to have this hatchet on the stairs in the projects and for a defense mechanism. And it was right there. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm glad he didn't find that. And I'm holding my neck, I'm bleeding.
Oh my gosh.
My brother's next door playing Atari video games. I'll go over there and knock on the door. The lady name was Linda Faye, and she had an old drunk uncle named HL. And my brother and him answer the door, and I walk in and I fall in my brother's arm, bleeding to death everywhere. And everybody in the hood is screaming, "Ah!" Everybody's screaming, and they think that my mom's ways caught up to her and I got murdered.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I have to pause here for a second. Maybe this is the most compelling story I've ever had said right here in front of me on the show. I don't want to say anything about other guests because we've had some great stories, but this is a wow. Okay, so what happened? So you're bleeding. Are you bleeding to death?
Yeah, I'm bleeding to death. I'm bleeding to death. They called the ambulance, and this old guy named HL, he worked at Odessa America. He was a newspaper guy, and he says, "Put a Band-Aid on it." He was drunk. So anyway, they called the ambulance. It's crazy, just like the movie. They got me on the stretcher, and this is the most realest thing that ever really happened in my life. That I'm true. I never snitched on my mom. So I'm on the stretcher. Police is there. My mom rolls up on the scene because they told her I got murdered, but she wanted to come see for herself. I'm on the stretcher, getting in the ambulance. My mom runs up. She don't say, "Are you okay, baby?" Nothing. She says, "Don't tell him nothing." She says, "Don't tell him nothing." And so I kept that in my head.
Whoa.
So now we go to the hospital. I don't know if I'm going to die or nothing, but whatever my mom said, code of the streets, don't snitch, don't say nothing. It was in the back of my head. So it's the detective named Detective Price. After they bandaged me up a couple of days later, he comes and say, "Boy, what happened? What happened?" I said, "Man, somebody tried to break in our house and rob us." And he goes, "Nobody robs the projects." But I just said, "Hey, that's it." And so for 3 or 4 days, no one showed up but that detective. 4th day, mama shows up.
Wait, your mother didn't come visit you?
No, because she thought I was going to break or whatever.
She's going to get arrested if she shows up because you've told the story.
Right.
Oh, wow.
So now I'm there, and then she shows up and she comes in and she sits on the edge of the bed and she's crying. Oh, baby, I'm so sorry. And now me being a little boy started comforting the mom. Mama, don't cry. it's going to be okay. And mama said, I'm so sorry, baby. I'm so sorry. And in my heart, I forgave my mama. In that moment, I never held a grudge. And so after that time, I want to know why my mama was crying.
Mm-hmm.
So I got up and she said, baby, look. And I looked in the mirror, Ed, my head was about 4 or 5 times the normal head of a 9-year-old boy, knots and bruises. My eyes, the pupils, you could see the black where the white was, it was red. Like all bloodshot, completely, no white. And I remember when I got out of the hospital, I couldn't go to school anymore. I was in the 2nd grade. So all my 2nd grade, I just barely found this out a few months ago. A girl, her name is Keisha Robinson. She was my neighbor in the project, and she was also in my class. And she said that everybody in my class, 2nd grade class, thought I had died.
My gosh.
Because I didn't go to school for a few months because I was so jacked up. And I remember that eye doctor, when we went to that specialist, the eye doctor told my mom, she says, I never seen an eye condition this bad. If the medication don't work where his eyes clear up, we're going to have to scrape his eyeballs.
Oh, my gosh.
So I was a little boy thinking about, I don't want my eyeballs scraped.
This may sound really weird, but like I'm sitting here with this grown jacked man. I like want to, I want to just like hug this little boy. Like it's staggering what you're describing right now.
Yeah.
The other thing that strikes me as I'm listening to you is like, God made this articulate, brilliant, intellectually gifted, amazing storytelling young boy who's going through this trauma, like on the other side of pain. By the way, and the pain hasn't ended yet, guys. We're just getting started. The pain, there's just this amazing human being.
Right.
And that anybody listening to this, like whatever you're going through compared to what, by the way. And the other thing I think of is there's some other little boy right now somewhere going through the same type scenario that how many people need our help. You know what I mean? I think about that. All the people going through something like what you're describing, which the way that I was raised, this isn't even fathomable, right? And I thought I had it bad with a drug addict dad and an alcoholic dad in a safe home where we had food on the table. My mother was not doing any of the things your mom was doing, and there was love. He had no love. I just stepped back for a second and go, my gosh. So if you're running a business right now, you know it's hard. You know, budgets are tighter right now, hiring freezes, there's some economic uncertainty for a lot of you. Here's the good news. Upwork is helping small businesses do more with less. Upwork is a hiring platform designed for the modern day playbook where you can find, hire, and pay expert freelancers who can deliver results from day one. It's fast and it's simple. Never tried Upwork? Well, now's the perfect time because they're giving our listeners a $200 credit after spending $1,000 in your first 30 days. So that's $200 you can put towards your next freelancer. Design help, AI automation, admin support, marketing, whatever your business needs. Visit upwork.com/save right now for this great offer. That is upwork.com/save to get a $200 credit to put towards your next freelancer to help you grow your business. That's upwork.com/SAVE. Upwork.com/save. Don't wait. This offer is only valid June 24th through August 5th, 2025. Hey guys, let me tell you what happens every single morning. And that is that I take my AG1s. I take my drink every single day. It's delicious. It helps give me hydration. It's giving me energy. It's helped with my digestion. By the way, my skin even looks better that I've been on AG1s, and it's been over a year. I have to tell you, it's a game changer for me. Every single day, even when I travel on the road, I have my AG1s with me. Love the flavor. By the way, they've got a bunch of new flavors right now as well. You should be getting your AG1s every day. It's the best thing I think you could be doing for your health daily that's simple, easy, and affordable. So give the new AG1 flavors a try. Plus, if you head to drinkag1.com/EdMylett or scan the QR code and you'll get a free welcome kit worth $76 when you subscribe, including 5 AG1 travel packs, a shaker, canister, and scoop. That's drinkag1.com/EdMylett to get started. So these injuries are pretty significant.
Right.
You eventually heal and recover from this, but let's just be real. You've now grown up with programming and patterns and an environment that is not set up for a young man to make good decisions up until adulthood.
To be honest with you, the reason I became the successful entrepreneur, that's all I know.
Millionaire, everybody.
Oh, yeah. We did that 12 years ago.
Yep.
So the thing about me making money, like I tell everybody, it's not arrogant, it's not a cocky, it's just all I had was me. My life basically been locked out by all purposes. So at 12 years old, I think that's the last time I ever asked for money. I was selling candy door to door at 12 years old because, and this is another thing, how I ended up in the boys' home. I'm selling candy door to door. And I used to save my money at home. I'm living with mom at this time. We're living in an apartment somewhere else.
Is she still in the same occupation?
Occupation, same thing,
Okay.
robbing, stealing, drugging.
Yeah.
She just is just 3 years later.
Okay.
We get evicted from that first project because HUD says once you have a police involved, domestic violence, you get kicked out of the program. So we're living somewhere else. So what I would do every day, I would sell candies door to door for this thing called West Texas Teens. And for every box of candy I sell, I get $1 bill. So I would sell 25 after football practice, after school. And I used to stash the money at home. So one day I come home, I think I had $380 saved up at 12 years old. I come home, I'm putting some more in my stash. Mama hit me. She hit me for my whole 380 and I'm sick. And because she was asking me for money that days early, and I was like, no, I'm saving for my school clothes. I wouldn't give her any. And then I go around the corner, her and her friends are drinking, having a party with my money. So I went around there, and this is the only time I ever really kind of cussed at my mom. I said, did you steal my effing money? And she goes, nah, what are you talking about? She denied it. And I just hid around the corner, and this lady that was drinking a beer party, when she said, did you take that boy's money? She goes, yeah, I took it, but he ain't gonna talk to me like that. I'm his money. I got 100 left. I was gonna give it to him. Then I just went back around there. I said, you know what, Mom? I said, Mama, man, go on and keep it. I'm gonna go get some more. So from that day on, I would carry my money in my pocket, like to school. So now I would go, I'm in the 7th grade at Crockett Junior High. I would take my money to school and I would flash it sometime or get something. And they're like, dang, Tiki, what are you doing? And I said, I sell candy. Made it to the principal.
Yeah, I think it's a different candy.
Right. You're 100% correct.
Yeah.
So they called me to the principal's office. I'm already on juvenile probation.
Okay.
Understand? I had my probation officer. His name is Gary Speed. So I go to the principal's office. They said, Tiki, what are you doing with all this money? I said, I sell candy after school. They said, who's your pusher? I said, he's a guy named Eddie. They says, okay. So they called my probation officer. They come in. We have this meeting. They said, Tiki, what are you doing with all this money? And I said, Gary, he was my probation. I said, I don't know if you know it or not. I said, how many days in a week it is? He says, it's 7. I said, I'm by myself for 5. So I need this money to take care of myself. And I got to bring it to school. If I leave it at home, mama's going to steal it.
Oh my God.
They wait till after school. They say, when your pusher pick you up? I say, he picks us up after school in his little van. So after school, they wait for the guy to pick us up and they ambush his van and they open up all the boxes and it was candy. So Gary, my probation officer, he says, Tiki, you can't live like this. You can't sell candy. You can't do this. He said, what do you think about the boys' home? I said, what boys' home? He said, it's Buckner Group Home. He says, you don't have to sell candy. You get an $8 allowance. You get your own room with some other boys. You can't live like this. You want to go in? And I said, yeah, let's go in. And that's when my life started to change, when I went into the boys' home.
Brother, okay, this is bananas. I had, by the way, my first career out of college is I worked in a group home.
Okay.
I worked at McKinley Home for Boys, and that
Okay.
changed my life being with those boys.
Yes.
And stories, yours is the most extreme,
Right.
but stories like that, having boys in my home whose own fathers had sexually assaulted them, or father and uncle, and
Yeah.
you know, seeing what these young boys had gone through in their life, and just thinking the chances
Right.
from there, if they don't start learning new patterns, new decisions, new thoughts of their lives not repeating. Because you know what I was thinking the whole time you were describing your mom? I don't know. I'm sure you've thought about it. What happened to your mom when she was a little girl? Do you know what I mean? Like what caused her to turn into what she ultimately turned into? Have you ever given any consideration to that?
Here's the deal. A lot of people, when I share the story, I just really started sharing it like 6, 7 years ago when I got into the speaking.
Yeah.
I love my mom unconditionally like no other. I never loved anybody like I love my mom but my daughter and my granddaughter now.
Wow.
Like my mom, she was my number one. I loved her to the end. And I'll get into that a little later on in the story, but she had a rough life.
Yeah, she had to have.
But check this out. The grandmother I was telling you about, I didn't really want to confuse the story,
Yeah.
but my mom had 5 siblings, and her birth mother gave her and her 5 siblings and only kept the 6th kid because he was a boy and she was in love with the man. So my mom, birth mother, gave 5 of my mom's siblings and herself away.
Away. So this sort of starts to kind of explain your mother's trauma.
Right.
And in every family, I always say there's the one where it stops.
Right.
And they become the one that changes everything. Clearly, you're the one in your family. I mean, that obviously, I just want to acknowledge you, brother. Like, everyone waits for the rest of this. But, like, what you've turned into, multimillionaire, speak around the world, unbelievable book coming out called The Tiki Factor that you can pre-order, by the way, right now.
Yes.
But it's just incredible. And we're going to talk about some of the strategies in a minute, everybody, but the story actually isn't done. What did you get? I'm curious. What did you get at the group home that so helped you, I guess, short term, compared to what you weren't getting in your own home?
Well, Ed, at 12 years old, that was the first time that I knew when I went to school, all our belongings weren't going to be sitting on the side of the street. So what I got from the group home was stability. First time I knew I was going to have 3 meals a day. I knew I was going to get $8 at the end of the week because I stayed out of trouble. I knew I was going to be able to play video games. I knew I was going to get to hang with the other kids, and I didn't have the stress of a grown man. I was just going to have the ability to live normal. And so that's what I got from the group home was stability.
Did anything in the group home when I worked in the group home? Everyone that's actually worked in it, it sounds like you were in one like what I was in too, like a pretty significant one. Yeah. One of the things I used to worry about with my boys, this has nothing to do with your story, I'm just curious. Was there was always a boy that was the alpha in the group home, and every once in a while he was the one who kind of corrupted or messed up the other little boys. So it wasn't their family anymore. It was this alpha who, like in our group home, frankly, some of these sexual assaults that would take place was from this, I know his name, I won't say, but like one boy that was in there would almost hurt the other boys in there. Did you ever have to defend yourself against, was there like a dude in there, or was it just you got blessed that this was a good group of dudes you ended up with? Yeah,
it was a good group of guys. If anybody was the alpha, it was me.
It was you. Okay.
I was always the leader, and then it was always like a rivalry. You know, I was always bumping head with the other guy that wanted to be a lion. Like, you in the jungle, I'm a lion, you a lion, let's see a mano y mano. So it was a guy named Roderick Luke from Lubbock.
Your name recognition is incredible, by the way, of your life.
And so Roderick, me and him would go back at it because I was 8th grade, he was 9th grade, and I was the new boy in, so everybody kind of liked him. But when I came in, I had that thing when you walk in a room, it's called command presence.
That's right.
And when people say, I don't know who that guy is, but he's somebody. And so I've always had that, even as a young boy to a man to whatever, when he walks in a room or you walk on stage, oh, that's him.
You definitely have that. Right when I walked in the studio, he was here before me, guys. And right away. I mean, and it's not your guns, it's not your physicality, it's a presence.
And that's what I've always had. And, you know, sometimes it helps me, and sometimes I put a target on my back.
Yeah, and sometimes it's intimidating and off-putting to certain people too. Okay, so things go good in the group home, but then you're locked up at 18. So what turned? What happened? Because everyone, and then is it accurate that your mom was incarcerated at the same time as you?
Yes.
Not in the same place.
Same place.
Oh my God, come on. You end up incarcerated in the same facility as your mother.
Yes. So here it is at 17.
This story is amazing.
So at 17, I'm finally trying to live this dream of being a football star at my local high school. And that was all over as quick as it started because I was accused of a crime. And I go to jail, but I'm at the county jail.
You're being held.
So when I go in there, everybody wants a visitor, right? But my visitor was my mama. And so the sheriff and the powers that be knew my mama and knew me. And so instead of waiting on a visitor, they took me right to her.
They did. Okay.
Yeah.
That's just, bro, I don't even know how to explain this. I don't even know. Can you, as you tell it, like, is there a part of you that's like outside your body almost right now? Like, I can't even believe this is my story.
No, now hindsight, like I said, like when you're proofreading the book, you know, with the editor. And when I dive back into it, it's hard for me to read my own story again because now I don't live that life anymore. And I'm like, dang, how did I make it?
Yes.
Because when you look back and you see all the trauma and everything, because when you're going through it, it's just normal.
Right.
Because you don't know nothing different. And so when I go in there and visit my mom, and I never shared them, I'm sharing on your stage right now. When I went and asked my mom, I like, Mom, you know, I didn't do what they said I did. She says, boy, do you got AIDS? She asked me if I had AIDS.
Really?
Because she thought being around white women or white people, you can get AIDS.
Oh my God.
And I was like, no, Mom, I don't have AIDS. I didn't do nothing. And she says, well, I love you, son. And she couldn't really help me because she was on her way to prison for murder.
What?
Yeah. So she went to prison for murder. I was going in there for what I was charged for. She went to prison for murder. And so before she caught the chain to go to prison for murder, we had that conversation. And that's the last time I ever seen her.
Tiki, I've been doing this a long time. I've been speechless like 3 times ever on the show.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. It gets worse.
Okay.
So we had that conversation. She hugs me. I said, I love you, Mom. She said, I love you too. But she's 37. I'm 17. She can't really compensate to help me because she's dealing with her own life. She goes to prison. I get out of jail, bond out. My football career is wiped away because I had to start my senior year at the alternative school.
Yeah.
So this whole dream, I'm watching someone else score my touchdowns. I'm waiting, I see their name in the paper, and I'm hurt by this. And then as soon as football season over, I go back to my high school. When basketball season, I'm like an outcast. Mm-hmm. I was this big star, and everybody's looking at me like, man, what happened, Tiki? What happened? And then I go to school for about a month. Then I go to court. Mm-hmm. When I go to court, my lawyer tell me, Tiki, they're offering you 5 years in prison. 5 years. I'm 18 now. 5 years in prison. He says, but I think we go to court and they see all the evidence and they see that young lady and see what she looks like, ain't nobody going to send you to prison. And so we go into the courtroom. Court's supposed to start at 9 o'clock, 9:15, 9:30, 9:45. Nobody shows up but the judge and us. 9:45, 9:55, the prosecutor and the alleged victim, mom, shows up, falls out in the courtroom drunk.
Oh my gosh. And
so at that time, boop, mistrial. But then that lady started screaming. So the judge called us to the back. And the lawyer that I had, they says, okay, let's give him deferred adjudication probation for 10 years. And the judge said, if you stay out of trouble for 10 years, this goes away like it never happened. That's the best deal we can have. And then the girl's mom screamed, I want him to go to prison. And he goes, all right, I'll send him to prison for 120 days. And then when you get out, you do your probation. Then my lawyer said, no, we can't do that. If he goes to prison, he's an ex-con. So that deferred probation don't work. Then he goes, you're right. So judge said, you go to jail for 6 months. So in the middle of my senior year, I went to jail for 6 months.
Jail, not prison.
I've never been to prison. I just went to jail. Yep. And so the people in the community kind of knew I got a raw deal. So this is why, like, God has always came in my life, like earth angels, and helped me. So this particular time, I would have school every day at the jail. The teachers would come, they would bring me my work, and I would do school. And I did that for 6 months, and then I got out, and I would tell all those inmates and other people and the jailers, because I always had this confidence. I said, man, when I get out here, I'm going to college. When I get out here, I'm going to the NFL. And they would laugh. They say, Tiki, no one's getting out of here. I said, I'm different. But the reason I'm sitting on your show today, I just didn't say I was different. I had to prove
it.
So I receive a call. On the other end, it's my mom. And I haven't spoke to her for 7 years since I was that young boy, and we had that conversation. And everybody knew I wasn't going to the NFL anymore except my mom, because I wasn't playing football. So I had to break the news to her. And I said, I got some good news and some bad news. She said, well, give it to me. I said, well, the bad news is I don't play football anymore. I'm not going to the pros. She says, that's not so bad. What's the good news? I said, well, Mom, I'm going to be the first person to graduate college. I graduate with my degree in May. And she says, I'm excited. She says, I also have some good news. I said, what is it? She says, I just made parole and I'm going to be there. And I said, when do you get out? She says, I get out January the 6th. I need you to pick me up in San Angelo, Texas with a windsuit. And she says, lastly, son, I need you to send me $40. She says, because I'm working in the kitchen and my feet has swelled up so much, I can't bend over and tie my shoes. So I need the Velcro snap shoes. And I said, yes, ma'am. She says, the next thing I need $40 for my medical report. When I get out, I need some help. I'm a little sick. I said, yes, ma'am. And she says, lastly, son, before I hang up, I need you to expect a call from the warden. She'll let me know where the property's delivered and stuff like that. And I said, yes, ma'am. And make sure everything's on schedule for me. And I said, yes, ma'am. And so just like clockwork, I'm in East 11th in Odessa, and I get a call from the warden of the prison. And it's a female warden. She says, this Tiki Davis? I said, yes. She says, I just want to let you know that Karen has expired. I said, I know. She said, you're going to be calling. I know her time's up. I know it expired. She said, son, you don't understand. What do you want to do about burial arrangements? So on January the 6th, instead of picking up my mom from a bus station. I was in Huntsville, Texas, having a funeral. At that time, I felt like I was invincible. My mom was an invincible person, but at that time, I really felt like I could die for the first time because my mom passed away, and I didn't really understand. I just didn't know how to process your mom dying, and I hadn't seen her in so long, so I wasn't really missing her presence, but I just knew I was never going to see her again. So when she was in prison, it was always a thought in my mind that I would see her again. But when I seen her and I went down there and I identified the body, she was 280 pounds, real black, real dark, and I couldn't recognize her. And when I finally knew it was her, I looked at her hand where she used to shoot drugs. She had this wep, and I knew it was her, and I fell out and I cried, man, and it hurt me real bad because she had died, and I felt like I was gonna die because she died. And that's the kind of last time I seen her. We had a funeral the next day, and the prisoners at Huntsville, they made a makeshift casket, and she's buried at the Huntsville graveyard. And that's pretty much it, man. And I remember we're doing the funeral, and some of the inmates was carrying her to her grave. And I remember taking out running, and I pushed one of the inmates out the way, and I carried my mom to her grave. Me and 3 other pallbearers, which were lifers at Huntsville. I hadn't graduated yet. I was in my senior year of college, and I wasn't going to graduate till May. She had passed away in January, December the 31st of 2001. When I graduated with my bachelor's degree, I stayed in school because I couldn't find work, and so I ended up working on my master's degree.
Tell him what happened. By the way, I'm going to give you guys the post now, what his life's turned into, and then he said earlier, how did I become this? But he actually has how he became it. So then we're going to talk about some of the strategies and the patterns and tactics that you could be taking to change your life as well. And this is an extreme story, but just tell him, give him, that was all the before, right. I guess. We'll call it the before.
Yeah.
What's happened over the next 20 years of your life, 20, 25 years of life? Just give him an idea of where you sit today.
Okay, so where I sit today, I'm a 2-time college graduate. I went to school, got my bachelor's, my master's in 03 and 05. Started in the oil business. So where I'm from, oil is big. So my first job, I started as a field engineer in 2007, making $13 an hour with 2 degrees. So I worked for that company for about 3 years, and I learned everything. And I became the most requested engineer in the Permian Basin, whereas there's not a lot of black engineers. And this independent #1 oil man in the world, Clayton Williams Jr. in Mylett, Texas, he gave me an opportunity to consult on his wells. And within a 5-year period, I took that $13 an hour to over $1 million a year he was paying me.
Wow.
And not only was the best, I became the best engineer in the world. So the consultants at that time, when I first started, Ed, they were making $400 a day. When I stopped, I was making $3,200 a day, every single day. Every single day for 8 years. You see, that's how I made my money.
Yep. And so now by that time, you're now a millionaire.
Yes.
Then you've invested and multiplied that money many, many times.
Yes.
So the fast forward becomes this. You basically go from being in jail with your mom, who then goes away to prison for you haven't seen her since.
Right. Nope.
For murder. You end up turning that into a $13 an hour job into becoming a multimillionaire. And by the way, a really sought after speaker, author, and a movie coming out about his life. So if he can do all that, by the way, how did he do it? So we're going to talk about that because we've got some time. I want to go through some of the stuff that you recommend in the book because you do know how you did it. Right. And there's things that you talk about in the book. Let's get into these Tiki Factor principles because I think that's the bedrock of what's happened here in your life.
Okay, so when I'm on stage, as you know, I travel, I'm the Tiki Factor. And after I share that crazy story, how did you overcome that adversity? How do we do it in our life? I'm glad you asked. So my name is spelled T-I-K-I. The T stands for total commitment. I challenge that person to make a total commitment to your life, your hopes, and your dreams. The next thing is the I, imagination. Live from your imagination and not your history because none of us are our history. The next thing is K, kindred spirits. The people around us affect us. Depending on who they are and what they do is going to affect us in that type of way. And the last I, invest in yourself. Those are the Tiki Factors, principles of life. And if you apply them to your life, you'll win. And you can't win today's game.
I totally agree with you. I have a whole chapter in my book on imagination versus history. And I say the people that are the most successful and the happiest operate out of their imagination. That is outstanding.
And so those are my principles, and that's what I leave every talk with.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. I got to tell you, I'm glad that they do because, people ask me all the time, what do most of the guests on your show have in common? Because there's all these different industries and stories. I'd say the one thing, most of them have been to therapy, and I've been to therapy. I think it's a great thing, whether you've had a lot of trauma in your life and it's extreme and you need to work through it, or maybe it's not so severe, but you just need clarity, somebody to talk to, get a plan in place. With over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally. And it works with an average rating of 4.9 out of 5 for a live session based on over 1.7 million client reviews. It's convenient too. You can just join a session with the therapist with a click of a button, helping you fit therapy into your busy life. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Talk it out with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/edshow. That's better, HELP.com/edshow.
One of the things that happens when you grow up the way you did is you develop belief systems that don't serve you.
Right.
Belief systems about people, belief systems about how to get ahead, belief systems against what is stacked in your favor or against you. We form beliefs when we're young.
Absolutely.
You're in an environment that just fed you almost nothing that would be good about beliefs to have, about how to treat other people, about love, about all that stuff.
Right.
And in the book, there's a part of the book where you talk about developing a core belief.
Right.
Right. And this is something it's invisible to most people. Most people don't know you have a core belief. Tony Robbins in his events refers to it like as a primary question you ask yourself.
Right.
But you have a global belief about yourself or life that dictates most of the terms of your life. And for many of you listening to it right now, it's invisible and you're oblivious to it.
Right.
Just starting to ask yourself what your belief actually is a really powerful question. But what do you mean by that in the book when you say that, developing a core belief?
Well, it's like for a guy like me, my core belief was believing in myself. Like you have.
But why would you? There was no evidence you should. I mean, your mom didn't want you. Your dad didn't want you. Your grandma's pretty much didn't want you, right? You're like, how do you do that?
It's like an old Baptist preacher. I had to bring my own amens. So the core belief was I could sneak up on people because nobody was paying attention. And I got into the rooms that I wasn't supposed to get in because no one was paying attention, and I was developing myself. I was studying the game, just the speaking. I studied everybody even before I jumped in. And I knew I could do it. I knew it was room for me. I didn't hate on nobody. All I said was me too. Me too. You got a great story, but me too. And I knew it was room for me because I studied everybody. So my core belief was basically believing in myself. That's basically like that total commitment. I made that total commitment to myself, and I knew because a lot of times people always come up to me now once you're successful, they ask you, how did you do it? So I was always getting that. I'm like, man, and I would just give it away for free.
Yeah.
But I didn't know. So when you were chosen, everybody's like, man, I see you doing good. So right before my eyes, I started maturing, not just as a person, but as a man. Just as an influencer, when you didn't even know, you weren't even trying to be this, you were just walking in your gift, and it made room for you. And so my core belief was just being myself, but doing the work.
What would you say to somebody who doesn't? And like their parents didn't really, I always say this, a great parent not only just loves their kids, because that's kind of like basic, you'd even have that.
Right.
But most kids get love from mom or dad or both. What most kids don't get from mom or dad, because the parents aren't conscious of it, is belief.
Right.
I believe in you. I believe in you. I believe in you. That's a totally different level. So most people, that belief they have is the absence of belief in themselves. What would you say to somebody who's listening to this? They certainly, almost no one listening to this had it as hard as you did.
Right.
They might have had it difficult in their version, and in their world, that's trauma.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is, and by the way, I'm sure there's tons of micro stories that happen day to day that we'd be on a 9-hour podcast. We're just giving the highlights.
Yeah.
But what would you, someone's listening, go, hey, that sounded good. I don't believe in myself. What would you say to that person to begin to build the first step towards developing that belief?
My advice would be, you got to believe in yourself. Nobody else will. And success is measured in time. So you're not going to get to the pot of gold overnight. So it's going to take some small steps to eventually get there. And focus on your dream, but the destination takes time. So what I would say is just look at what you want, try to win small battles day by day.
That is the key.
Yeah, small wins to get there. And that's what I used to do, small wins.
Yep.
Small wins.
Always say, keep the promises you make to yourself.
Right.
Like the first win is, if you're going to get in the gym in the morning, get in the gym. You're going to drink a gallon of water, drink the gallon of water. You're going to make 10 phone calls a day, make one. I always say the power of one more as well. But the fact of the matter is like, to go from no belief to tons of belief is not a switch of the fingers.
Right.
Right. Now, in my case, I would also say that if you believe you have a loving God in heaven who made you in his image and likeness, that's a huge advantage right out of the gate, because he didn't make you to be average or ordinary. But you got to do the things every single day. In the book, he actually says, I made my first million by betting on myself.
Right.
Somehow, though, you've taken, and it's a topic I want to ask you about,
Okay.
you've taken pain
Mm-hmm.
and truly made it like a purpose thing in your life.
Right.
So, because I think in life, I say this often, you're most qualified to help the people you used to be.
Right.
Boy, if people are in pain, they haven't had a level of pain like you've had.
Right.
What does that mean, turning your purpose into pain?
Well, you turn your purpose into pain by growing through it. Like the 9-year-old boy with the screwdriver neck, that's not who I was. That's who I was. That's not who I am today. So I didn't live there. Because if I would have lived there and made excuses, like it's something in my book when I says, if you're looking for a story about a victim, you come to the wrong place. I never had a victim mentality. I was like, this is what happened to me. Let's keep on moving. You know, and a lot of times my life was so bad, people would make excuses for me and my brother for us not to be successful. I remember one time I got this award, Man of the Year award, and in the same city. And I'm up there giving a talk or a speech or accepting it. And I told him, I said, I never ever want to be the man of the year. I just want to be a good man. I just want to be a good man. So if I came to a level for accolades or success or whatever, that was never my goal. I just wanted the opportunity to get in the game of life. So my purpose was just trying to be a good man. And my whole life was trying to fight this frame or trying to prove that I wasn't this. And I just kept on working and stacking one good day after the next.
Is part of it also, you're just sort of a hustler.
Oh yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
Very, very much so.
Like, I think you just learn, I mean, when you're hustling to sell a box of candy bars, so you got food that you hope your mom doesn't steal.
Yeah.
I think what happened is through all of that trauma was like, you learned to scrape and to hustle. I think grit, like that thing, it's like one of the most under talked about things. Like, you can have all these mindset things in the world. Do you outwork everybody? Do you out hustle everybody? Like, are you always, you know, when I'm training my UFC fighters, first thing I always ask them about the other guy or the other woman, by the way, because I work with some women as well on their mental games. I'll say, let's just start out before I want to know one thing about the opponent, and they know what I mean. Is this one a dog or not?
Right.
Because if they're a dog, if they have some dog in them, you're in for a fight with a junkyard dog. That's different than fighting somebody who's just skilled. Somebody's got that dog in them. Like, they're going to fight you through the pain. The great fighters don't just, you know, dole out punishment. They can absorb it and keep hitting you with false punishment.
Yes.
That's got to be an element of your stuff.
Yeah. Like I don't feel like, you know, a lot of times when I was getting into the speaking world, I felt like, man, I could be one of the best in the world. And people say, hey, can you be like such and such, such and such? I says, they're the best telling their story. I'm the best telling mine.
Yeah, and you are, by the way.
You know, I'm the best telling mine. And so, like, you have the power of one, right? I have a quote that I use all the time. I'm not trying to be the best. I'm trying to be the only.
There you go.
The reason the world stopped when Kobe Bryant died, not because he was the best, it's because he was the only. It's a different to the standard. What's your standard? So that's when I tell people I'm the best in the world. It's because I'm the best in the world doing Tiki Davis. My standard is different because I went through more than you. I said, man, tell me somebody else that did this, that came from where I came from, made $1 million in 5 different areas.
Yeah, that's bananas. And also, I want to talk about that victim thing, that where you came from thing. Here's what I think over time. Like, I have nowhere near, like, to compare our stories would be a truly gigantic disservice to your story.
Right.
But it wasn't an advantage to have an alcoholic dad or a drug addict dad. Right? That wasn't an advantage. That was a disadvantage. Or if you're born in a marginalized area or socioeconomically, or maybe you don't look like the right race in somebody else's mind, whatever that thing is.
Right.
Not having a victim mentality isn't not acknowledging that the deck's stacked against you. It's acknowledging it. The deck is stacked against me.
Right.
But it's not using that as an excuse not to win. I think some people think, well, wait a minute. Don't tell me I'm not a victim. I am a victim. Well, yeah, you are. You clearly were a victim of your upbringing. Like, your mom victimized you, your grandmother, your dad. Like you certainly had these things happen. The difference of not having a victim mentality is not carrying that through your life as an excuse. It's not a lack of acknowledgement of the setback or that you weren't born on first base. It's acknowledging it, but not using it as a reason not to win. Right.
And a lot of people use that. Like my brother, the white kid, you know, he's been to prison 5 years. I mean, 5 times.
I was going to ask you about your brother.
Yeah. So, man, we're like night and day.
Really?
Like night and day. He just got out of prison several months ago. He lives at one of my properties, and he's not really doing much with his life. And I try to encourage him, help him out, but he hasn't got it yet.
I think the shift is exactly what we just talked about. You can have like an alcoholic family, for example. You can have 3 or 4 kids grow up in the exact same house, exact same parents, exact same situation. 1 or 2 turn out and have a great life and are successful. 1 or 2 don't. It's how they process what's happened to them. Do they use it as a leverage? They use it as a chip on their shoulder. They use it as something that builds strength, or they use it as an excuse to will. Because if you're looking for an excuse in life, almost everybody can find a valid one.
Right.
Oh, now you have like 60.
Right.
But everybody's got one, right?
Yeah.
And so if you're looking for an excuse, like if you're looking for a door out of the room of success, you're looking for a window or a door out, you could probably find one.
Right.
There's probably a story you could tell that feels good, it seems reasonable, it's justified, but you're still going to be out of the room of success or happiness or faith or bliss. So you'd be really careful justifying your own story to fail.
Right. I hate excuses.
Yeah.
I want to be around winners. I want to be around high achievers, not because I became that, but that was my mentality way before I got it. Like when I was 18, my first job was washing cars, making $250 a week for 2.5 years until that guy sent me to college.
Yeah, you're a hustler.
Yeah.
Now, what I just hear is like I learned to scrape. I've never to eat and survive. You learned it, and you took that into something multimillionaire. Like there was a shift moment though, right? You talk about that in the book. There's a shift moment. What was that for you?
It was several. It was just like I can't live here in this moment. Like it was like times that I was gonna do different things. Like just imagine graduating college and no one would hire you. So it was a moment in my mind that like my cousins all back home sold drugs and they were telling me to come. So the guys that were in high school with me, they're a cartel now. They took over. And they used to always tell me, like, Tiki, we'll give you all the drugs you sell to the blacks. And I was that close to doing it, Ed. I'm in graduate school. I'm out of money because I can't ask the guy that sent me to college for more money. He paid my undergrad. Now I can't say I can't find work, pay for grad school. So I'm just going to school, scraping by, living off financial aid. And so they're filming this movie in Odessa, Friday Night Lights.
Yeah.
And I'm getting a haircut at the local barbershop and they're looking for Boobie Miles. And this guy from the Houston Chronicle, and I go into the barbershop, that presence, this Tiki, and I tell this guy, what you looking for Boobie Miles for? I was better than him. And the guy the whole barbershop busted out laughing. And the guy says, man, no one was better than Boobie Miles. I said, well, you're not from Odessa. There was a lot of guys better than him. And then he says, all right, if you're so good, whatever your name is, Tiki Davis, go out there to the stadium. They're looking for extras to play this role in this movie, right? Yeah. So I said, all right. So I went out there. I got hired as an extra.
That's awesome.
So after a few days, I became Derek Luke Stanton, the character that was playing Boobie Miles.
Yep.
And so, but I'm only making $100 a day, Ed. And so I got Tuesday, Thursday night school. So I'm driving back and forth for 3 weeks to night school. And the only money that I'm making off the movie is for gas. So I'm praying to God. I'm like, after my 4th week, and it's I'm praying to God. I'm like, man, if I don't get something, man, I'm gonna have to come back and get these drugs. Yeah. So this is the turning point. This is the shift moment you're asking about. So I'm driving. I got this 735 BMW that I bought myself, but the guy that sent me to college, he owned a dealership. So you know a luxury car is the maintenance. Yep. So I got free maintenance on that, but I'm driving. Everybody think I got money, but I'm broke. Yeah. And I'm thinking about selling this dope, right? And I'm praying to God in my car. It's a 2.5 hour drive from college to Midland, Texas. And then I go to the set that day, and the director, Peter Berg, the guy that produces Baller and all this. Yep. So I go to Peter, and I said, I'm mad at him because I've been doing all this extra with Permian. So this day he wants us to be Dallas Carter, all these black bodies. So I pulled Peter, and I said, say, man, how you gonna have us put on this Dallas Carter? I've been doing all this extra work in Permian. He goes, well, He said, if you want a shot in this movie, just go put that stuff on. I'll get you something. So I'm one of those guys, if you tell me something, you better do it. And he didn't really know me. I didn't know him. And I was like, hey, I'm Tiki. I want to be a movie star. And like, oh, yeah, go get dressed, right? So I go in the locker room. I put on the clothes. I get dressed. And we go in the room. You got all Division I, Texas, A&M, Oklahoma, all these big guys. We're all in this room together. And so Peter Burke said, who's the craziest guy in here that can get a football team hype? So I said, all right. I ran to the front. I said, Peter, you told me outside that you're going to get me in the movie. He said, I didn't tell you shit. He punked me out in front of everybody.
Wow.
So now I'm crying inside. You know, you've been embarrassed.
Yeah.
So I go to the back of the room. It's all these guys, egos, testosterone. Everybody's. So I go to the back and another guy goes and he starts screaming, ah. Peter Burke punks him out. He says, that's 30% what I'm looking for. Another guy goes, he cusses, and then Peter Burke says, I'm trying to make a PG-13 movie. I can't have all that profanity. In the back, this Tiki Davis is back there crying inside. So when he punks out the other guy, I'm mad. So I run back to the front. I told you I can do it. He said, let me see what you got, Tiki. I go, let's go, baby. Let's go. Don't be afraid to get your name in the paper. And organically, that energy transferred to the whole room. Everybody went crazy. And then Peter Burke says, cut. You're signed to the movie.
Come on.
So that's how I made it to Hollywood.
Come on, you guys. This is just
so
crazy.
I went from $1,000, not $1,000, $100 a day to $7,000 a week. And so that day on Friday, they had to cut me a $7,000 thing. So that was the shift moment.
Oh, brother.
That was the shift moment. And from that day on, and check this out. So I'm big in real estate just like you.
Yeah.
My office that I offers out now,
Yeah.
I was able to buy that first property at 25 with the Friday Night Lights money.
Oh, brother, this is the best. You're the best stories. It's the best stories and the best storyteller.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm hoping that people listening to this is their shift moment, listening to you. Let me ask you one last question, because you mentioned this about praying to God.
Yes.
So I'm just going, wow. Like, even my producer, Steven, is like so chill all the time.
Yeah.
Like, we're not chill right now.
Me and Steve got the same haircut.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. You could be brothers, actually. Yeah. Let me ask you this last. How important has been your intuition or faith? Since you've referenced it a couple times, like that intuition to run to the front, right? That intuition to, to go to the group home.
Right.
Right. So how much has intuition and faith played a role in all of this?
I've always had a strong discernment.
Yep.
I can read people and it's like a gut feeling, either right or wrong. Yeah. I always knew it. So my faith is I'm going to make it. Regardless of because a lot of times, it was a friend of mine, she asked me one day, she says, Tiki, do you ever feel like God left you? And I says, never one time in my life. So I've always felt okay, whatever the circumstances is. I just felt like whatever it's gonna be, I have to get through it. So I ain't never been shaken or wavered. I never pointed the finger. Even when I've been in the darkest place, I never questioned God, ever. Not one time, because some reason or not, even though I went through that, but I felt like every year I was the best at my age level. So when I look back in my community, if I was 12, I was the best 12-year-old. If I was 15, I was the best 15-year-old. If I was 18, I was the best 18-year-old. Now I'm 46, I'm the best 46-year-old where I'm from. And so I kept on elevating my life. And like another thing is like how do I get modern day? So last year at my college, I graduated Sul Ross State University, right? Yep. I was the first African American to go into the Hall of Fame as a distinguished alum in 103 years. And guys that's in the Hall of Fame that you would know, what's the name? What's that? Bonanzas? Dan Blocker.
Oh yeah, okay.
Big Blocker. He's in there as a distinguished. Some of those guys. And I was just looking back because I didn't know when I went in, I would start looking the list and I was like, man, I'm the first black.
Wow.
And that's history.
It is. I'm just picturing this. It's weird. It's all coming together for me at the end.
Yeah.
But I'm picturing this little boy. Hey, I don't want you. Go with your grandmother. Hey, that's your brother. Then I'm picturing that little boy peeking out and recognizing those jeans and those boots where he's been stabbed and he's bleeding out, and he's under that bed hiding from the man trying to murder him because his
Yes.
mom ripped him off, and he was a John and she was a prostitute.
Right.
And then I'm picturing you in jail and seeing that last conversation with your mom to right now, to
Right.
first African American into that Hall of Fame,
Right.
like multi-millionaire,
Right.
published speaker. It's just like it's one of the most remarkable stories of all time, bro. And by the way, on top of it, you're unbelievable at telling it.
Right.
Like when you speak, I see visual pictures,
Right.
which is what a great communicator does. I just want to tell you something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm honored and thrilled that you came here today.
Man, I'm honored to sit here.
Yeah. Well, listen to me.
Mm-hmm.
You have done something for millions of people today that
Right.
nobody else could do
Right.
because of what you've gone through, who you've become, what you're becoming, the lessons, the stories. I can just promise you, by the way, your world's about to change right now. I tell you, when this
I
is
hope
out,
so.
your world's even going to go to another whole level. So, Tiki, last thing is this.
Okay.
Where do they find you? Where should they go find you so they can stay in contact with you?
You can go to my website, tikidavis.com. You can find me on Instagram, Tiki Factor,
Okay.
and Facebook, Tiki Davis.
Okay, and Tiki is Tiki, everybody, just so you all know. Thank you for today.
Man, thank you for having me.
It was an honor. It was like, this flew. I feel like we've been here 15 minutes.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. I don't know what to say. You know what I'm talking about. You're going to share this. If someone wants to hear a story and go on a journey for an hour that'll change their life, this has been the one. So God bless you all. Max out your life.